Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville exchanged words on X with California Governor Gavin Newsom over the ongoing protests there. Tuberville says that Newsom failed to do his job comparing LA to a third world country and added that Newsom should be arrested. Newsom fired back, saying Alabama has 3 times the homicide rate of California and said that the senator should, quote, stick to football.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer. Now let's talk a little bit about Gavin Newsom and how he's continuing to fight with different individuals around the country because he's upset that people keep saying, hey, why don't you go run your state? Since you have riots and you have all these people suggesting inside your state that immigration should never be enforced, and they mean at work sites or jails or on the street or anywhere else. They're not trying to do this thing that a lot of smart Democrats are doing. We're saying, well, why don't you just only pick up the bad guys? Leave the people working in the fields alone, which Donald Trump said, okay, and then realizing what a bad idea that was, immediately backtracked. They're not doing that. They're suggesting you don't pick up anyone and you won't have any problems. Well, that's obviously not true. So anyway, so what's Gavin Newsom doing? Well, he's continuing to run around the country, or at least tweet around the country, and tell people that their murder rates are higher than the murder rate in his state. And he can make that argument until he is blue in the face. There is a lot that goes on in this conversation. It doesn't make any sense, but it's getting him a lot of praise, and that's why he's doing it.
There's so much mis and disinformation out there. There's so much noise. I don't need to tell you that. So the question is, how do we break through all of that noise and engage in real conversations? And that's why I'm launching on Substack. I hope you'll follow me so we can continue to engage in a two-way conversation at this critical moment in our history.
So last week, I decided to look at the homicide rates of California and Alabama, and he's correct in the sense that the numbers that have been reported traditionally show the homicide rate in Alabama is higher than the homicide rate in California. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. One is the underreporting of data, but I don't want to get into that. I'm not even going to quibble with his argument, but I am going to go back and make my argument even stronger that the problem in the state of Alabama is the fact that too many counties are run like California and not Alabama. So I asked Grok, an AI, to take a look at all of the data available for 2024 and look at it by congressional district. Go into those congressional districts and take a look at the homicides and look at the ones that might be underreported and tell me exactly how homicides break down here in the great state of Alabama in red versus blue counties. And here's what you find. Keeping in mind that we ran this through an AI, so, take it with a grain of salt, these are the estimated murders for the year 2024. And when you break them down by county, look what happens. You have blue counties versus red counties. In the blue counties, 14 counties. This includes Jefferson, Montgomery, parts of Mobile, 310 murders. That's 21 per every 100,000. Red counties, that's the 53 other counties in the state, 110 to 130 murders, or 3.5 per 100,000 murders. So if you look at the numbers, obviously the blue counties are more dangerous than the red counties. The counties that Gavin Newsom would be most likely to visit inside Alabama, not doing so well. But when it comes to homicides in the other counties, well, they're doing okay. Better. Any deaths are bad, obviously, and all that stuff we're supposed to say. But you also need to think about something else here for a second. Is anyone going to check Gavin Newsom on this in the national media? Are they going to push back on this narrative at all? I mean, we all know that the crime rate is higher in blue cities and counties. It's obvious. Everyone knows that. We can come up with 1,000 reasons why that might be. But the simple fact is, if Gavin Newsom was going to come to Alabama, he'd come to a place where it most likely had a higher murder rate than anywhere else in the state. Now, draw your own conclusions to that. The people that live there would probably much rather live in California. Draw your own conclusions to that, too. The simple fact of this is easy to understand. Gavin Newsom's argument makes no sense. It makes no sense, and no one should be swayed by it, but there's 0% chance he stops making it, and the media stops loving him for doing so.